goes out to you, especially for the last 7 signs or so. I've been feeling under the weather, so I apologize for that, okay? I want to begin by your initial messages first before I go into this spread, okay? I've laid out the cards uh, just to save me time when it comes to shuffling and recording. So I'm going to go into the messages first and then we'll go over these cards here. I feel for a lot of you, this is a major, major, major month for endings and new beginnings. This is a month in which a lot of clarity is coming through. And I feel like if you have been like dragging your feet when it comes to some major decisions in the past, you are going to have to pretty much, choose a course of action. Okay, so this is not a month to wait on things anymore, wait on other people. It is Mercury in retrograde, so but I do feel that some final decision, some final like nail on the coffin is coming through, not in a detrimental way, but in a more like closure inducing type of way that will allow you to like figure out where you stand and what you need to do in order to take care of yourself, in order to like finalize contracts, or in order to like either leave behind or continue with a relationship partner. So we do have a very, very strong energy coming through that I feel like the message is, enough's enough, change is coming, don't resist it, okay? Um, Aside from that, I do feel that other areas in your life are actually going really, really well. There's a lot of, I feel like a lot of group gathering, a lot of travels, a lot of like people coming with you. And I feel like some of you might have a very, very large network when it comes to like your family, people in your family. They might reside from different parts of the world. And I do see travel voyages from other people to you, or you to come to see people within your family unit. So I do see family, large, large family functions coming in. What I feel for some of you is they're saying like if you have been dealing with a situation, and I feel like this is more, it could be work, it could be romance. I do feel it's work and romance, not so much friendships. I feel like if you have been in a work environment where you kind of like slaved away, I feel that you are kind of like fed up, and I feel a lot of you are shifting into a new job. So that looks really good. I do sense that being really good. And I feel that a lot of you might have stayed in that work environment mainly because you have an innate sense of like, deep rooted loyalty. And so you stay in a situation and you tend to stay a little bit too long. Okay. So this pertains to a partnership. This can also pertain to like a work environment that promised promotion, promised opportunities for advancement, and it never materialized. And I do feel that you feel a little bit betrayed. So I feel that a lot of you are just looking elsewhere, like you're fed up. And then others of you, I see they're saying like there's a message of love coming through from somebody from the past. They are coming through to give you a commitment, but I feel like it's coming in a little bit too belated, and I feel that you're shifting your energy to somebody else. So I feel that coming through where you were dealing with somebody around your age or a little bit younger, but I don't feel they're significantly older. And then you're shifting to somebody who's a lot more mature, a lot more seasoned, and they say an older person. So there's like something came too belatedly, and you have already moved on. And I feel like you're not entertaining it. So that's good. I feel like the future looks a lot more stable for you. And what I'm feeling is that there's a lot of like, kind of like abrupt communication. So they're saying like plans kind of thrown together, and I feel like they don't materialize. So, it is Mercury in retrograde. If you are thinking about making plans with other people, just be careful about snags and delay, or at least, anticipate that there will be snags and delay, and plan for a contingency plan. Have a plan B, plan C on the table, so that you're not too heavily focused on, not getting what you want. So just be careful about that, okay? So it's going to be Mercury retrograde pretty much for the entire month. So I feel this energy permeating through this spread. But I do feel overall travel. I don't see so much travel delays. I do see minor hiccups in, plans here and there. But I don't sense like major, major delays when it comes to travel. And I feel like a lot of you are coming into, real insights about other people and about what they've been up to. So if you've had inkling in the past, I feel like this is the month in which truths come to light and you're no longer like, oh, like I knew it all along. And so I feel that you had an inkling, but this is the month in which you're getting a lot of closure. Okay. So I'm going to go into your reading here. One of the first things that is coming through heavily here, we do have the Hermit as well as the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands indicates a situation where there is like a feud, a dispute, or some type of a conflict. So this could be, people competing for the same job. This can be many, many people involved in a situation that doesn't really warrant them being there. It could be like interference coming through from other people. So this is a conflict. It can play out in an inner conflict or an outer conflict, like with people around you or just internally within yourself. I do feel that for many of you, this is a inner conflict that is playing out in your life. And I do feel here you're showing up as the Hermit. And the Hermit is this is a what I would call like a self-imposed type of an isolation. But when it shows up with the conflict card, I feel like a lot of you are dealing with some type of inner conflict in which somebody from the past is coming back through in your life, and they are giving you like some type of an offer for a solid relationship, a solid job. Okay, and you're just not really sure about what their intentions are. You're not really sure about whether or not they are honest and truthful. And so a lot of you are kind of like looking into this situation, investigating, doing some type of like digging out up information, ferreting out the truth. So I feel that, the inner conflict is playing out within yourself where you're just like, we have a history together, so I do want to give this person the benefit of the doubt. But on the other hand, they have given me the runaround for quite some months. I feel like it might have been years for some of you. And so no matter how much you dig, I feel that, it's like you're not able to get at the truth and you haven't been successful at ferreting out the truth in the past. So you're very skeptical. So on the one hand, your intuition is telling you there's something here, it's worth exploring, and let's go back to it. On the other hand, I do feel like a big part of you, your pride, is also getting in the way where you're just like, I don't know if, I want to go back to it because that might send the wrong signal. That might indicate that, I'm not as strong with my resolve, that I fluctuate when it comes to, being indecisive and things like that. So you're actually concerned about how the other person sees you and so it's other people's opinions really affects this decision that you need to make for yourself. What I'm also feeling is that for a lot of you, you have been very, very isolated and very much alone in your struggle. And I do sense that like a lot of you might be the responsible child in a household. You might also be the eldest child within your household. So there were a lot of family obligations imposed upon you. I do see a very huge, heavy family vibe in this. So there might have been, like a certain expectation when it comes to being the oldest child, having to take care of everything, having to take care of the finances, having to keep everybody in the family in check, having to like live up to other people's ideals, and having like a lot of unrealistic, I would say, expectations imposed upon you. And I feel that you have been very, very much alone in this burden. And it's really hard for you to reach out and, talk to other people because you feel like other people don't really understand what you're grappling with, okay? What I'm also sensing as well is that um, many of you, you might be, once again, you might be like going through some major, major cathartic experience where I feel that it's making you question whether or not you're on the right career track, whether or not you're headed in the right direction. So this energy tends to come up by the end of the year where we're kind of like, where have we been versus where we want to be, because where we're meant to be, and if we're happy as to what needs to be done at this present moment, like with our lives. So I feel a lot of you are going through a process of re-examination, thinking about like, where has things gone wrong in the past, who said what, who did what, and what contributed to, a breakdown in a specific relationship. And I feel that you're not blaming yourself. In the past, you might have felt like, oh, I could have worked it out. But at this point, I feel like you're arriving at better insights as to, figure out that, oh, maybe we're just not compatible. And that's why there has always been a lot of conflict. So I feel that in re-examining the past, a lot of you are kind of like allowing, like accepting things for the way that they are so that you can move on. We do have here the Ten of Swords, and the Ten of Swords indicate a situation that was quite painful. There might have been a lot of lies, a lot of betrayal. This is a card about being stabbed in the back, feeling as if we really trusted somebody, but somebody like took us for granted or misplaced your trust. Okay, so I feel like trust put on the wrong person. And so it is something that I feel over time it really adds up. So initially it might have feel like, oh, that's okay, I can put up with more. But then after a while you realize that you were the one that was very much alone in the struggle. And over time it really added up and you feel like you can't really, move past it. A lot of you might have dealt with this with a romantic partner, because I do have here the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is like trying to figure out, trying to make a decision, trying to figure out where to go. On the one hand, your mind is telling you, there's more to the story. On the other hand, your intuition is pretty much telling you it is what it is, and this situation can't be, fixed. So I feel like you're grappling with this dilemma as an earth sign. So I have actually what I'm noticing is there has been a lot of conflict, and I feel that a lot of people have told you, don't do it, like don't continue down this path that you're going on. And then I feel that everything that they say might have washed over you because you are a pretty stubborn sign. But the point here is that everyone has to go through life to learn their karma. And I feel like you had a lot of trust in a specific person, and you stuck with it, and you thought it was going to work out the way that you'd hope. And I feel like there were a lot of deceptions, a lot of lies associated with that situation. There was also a lot of conflict. So I feel like you were dealing with somebody that had many faces, is what I was feeling, almost like personality disorders, or someone who's very, very narcissistic, someone who couldn't see things outside of themselves. And I feel like you're hoping for some type of spiritual guidance or some type of spiritual insights to allow them to see where you're coming from. But I feel like it has a lot more to do with like personality disorders, somebody being very narcissistic, very tunnel vision, and unable to see things outside of themselves. So it's not just, wishing for insights for the other person to get it is not going to be enough. I feel that they're not ready to see it, or they might have seen it, but they might have just, kept things kind of like swept things under the rug, refusing to accept the truth. And I feel a lot of you were stuck in this with a relationship partner. There's more to the story, but you could never catch them in the act. So I feel like because of it, you're trying to decide what to do with the situation. You're trying to decide like, how do I move forward and how do I move on? And I do sense a decision is going to be reached for this month. And I do sense a lot of you are moving on to something new. Okay. So I do see as well an ex coming through from the past, wanting to offer either financial assistance, some help, or even like wanting to take a relationship to the next level with you. But this is an ex, and I feel like they're coming through a little bit too belatedly once you have already made up your mind. So I feel like whatever decision you've made, just move forward with it, regardless of whether or not it's Mercury in retrograde, because I feel like you have been grappling with this decision for quite some time. Okay. So on the career front too, I do sense like a lot of you might have been in a situation where you felt like you were stabbed in the back, you felt like you did a lot for the company, and you felt like you stuck around because you felt there was room for growth, promotions, and things like that. And then right at the last minute, they choose to let you go, and now you're kind of like stuck at a crossroads. Like, what do I do now? Like, where do I go from here? So there is a little bit of worries, anxieties when it comes to money. There's worries and anxiety when it comes to your overall life direction. And I feel like some of you might be going through this month with like, am I really happy with the direction that my life is going? Am I happy professionally? Am I happy in this relationship? So these things are coming through for you to re-examine, like, what do I need to do? What do I need to attain or have in my life in order to be happy? So once again, existential questions, and these are always good, but I do feel that it's coming, unfortunately, it's coming right before like a major decision that you have to make about, closing some doors on some people and some situations, okay? What is coming through next here, we do have the Six of Swords, I'm sorry, the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is a card about childhood innocence. This is kind of like idealistic dreams, expectations. In I feel like the Six of Cups here, it's linked up with the Six of Pentacles. This is a heavy, heavy karma card, okay? So together, I do feel that both of these signal some type of a past life type of energy. And what I mean by that is, let me just go back here. A lot of you are having some type of existential crisis, or like, you're questioning a lot of like the direction that your life is taking, and you're wondering if you're on the right path. And a lot of you might feel this overwhelming weight on your chest, It's sort of like, why aren't things going my way? Why am I always stuck in bad work environments? Why do I, date the same people? So these things are coming through, and it seems to me to be very, very cyclical. And so it's triggering something from, from the past, like even a past life trauma, a past life sense of like feeling as if things are not going your way, mainly because you feel the universe has overlooked you, feeling forgotten, feeling as if we're not, like feeling as if there are blockages, like some type of universal blockages that are coming through and, preventing you from attaining blessings and stability in your own life. So I feel like a lot of you are going through a crisis where you are questioning, like, is something blocking my blessings? What am I doing wrong that's blocking my blessing? So a lot of you have to analyze, honestly, what it is that you really want, because I feel like that once you have decided on that, the blockages will be lifted, because I feel like it's preventing you from heading in the wrong direction, mainly because you're kind of a little bit scattered about in terms of your career path, in terms of what you're doing right now, and scattering your energy. A lot of you are just going through the motions, doing the 9 to 5, getting enough money and just to sustain, or you are working in a job and there's I feel a lot of family social expectations, people imposing things upon you. And I feel that you do it because it's expected of you, but I don't feel that you are emotionally invested in it. So they're telling you, with these two cards coming out, what does your soul want on an innate level versus what do other people want? And on a material level, I feel like you're doing something, like doing some type of job, mainly for the financial, stability, but your heart is not in it. So I feel like that's where the blockages is coming from. What other people expect of us versus what we want. A lot of you might be staying in a relationship, honestly, like a marriage situation, because of the kids, because of the financial resources, assets that you share. You might be in business together with a romantic interest and you're no longer in love, or you're staying in a relationship for the sake of the children and you're no longer in love, or you are staying in a relationship because I feel like social expectations, like, your reputation is at stake if you choose to divorce, if you choose to get separated. So there's a dilemma here between, wanting to like free yourself from a situation, but but you're succumbing to like social norms, expectations, conformity, and you're not doing it. So they're pretty much telling you, where have you not been authentic with yourself? You need to fix those areas, because that's what's really causing the blockages in your life, is blocking your blessings from coming through. It's creating a very conflict driven environment. It's created a lot of isolation, and you feel like you're very much alone in the struggle. So sort that part out, okay? Because we do have some very strong karmic energy coming through. Once you sort it, it's going to lift itself. If for those of you who have been, like divorced or separated and you're waiting on some type of alimony or child support, money, I do see money coming through for you. The Six of Pentacles denotes money coming through from an institution. So especially if you are students, if you are waiting on unemployment, if you have lost a job or waiting on unemployment or waiting on some disability issues, I do sense financial windfalls coming through for you, as well as child support, alimony, etc. For others, I do sense they're saying there's a lot of assistance coming through from family. Okay, so this is a good month for you to get back in touch with your family members. They're saying that, don't be afraid to tell your family. Like if you've done something that you feel they wouldn't approve of, but it's done anyways, or you needed to do it, knowing that they don't approve of it, mainly because it's for your well-being. They're saying don't be afraid. Your family will be very accepting. They will embrace you. So whatever you are a little bit like ashamed of, or whatever you are feeling a little bit like disappointed in yourself about, you can tell your family. They are very supportive. Okay, so you're not alone. You're definitely not alone in this like you think that you are. Okay. What's coming through next here is we do have this Princess of Swords and the Two of Wands. The Princess of Swords, this is a news communication coming through. It's linked up here with the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands basically indicates new creative endeavors, new projects, new work situations. I do feel for those of you who have left a job, you're looking for something else. In the meantime, you might be waiting on information regarding unemployment, disability, or you might be waiting on, feedback from employers. You might be collecting paperwork such as letters of recommendation, performance reviews. You might be collecting all your portfolios. If you're working on a client basis, you might be calling all your clients and telling them, hey, I'm shifting gears into this new company if you want to come with me. So I feel a lot of like wrapping up on the professional front for those of you who are transitioning into new jobs or are just done and leaving this current work situation. And then for others, I feel like there is communication coming through. They're saying problematic, distrustful information coming through from somebody from your past. And I do feel that it is a romantic partner. So they're saying for you to be a little bit careful, okay? Some of you might be dealing with I'm going to look into the romantic sector later, but I feel a lot of you might be dealing, some might be dealing with an air sign. Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. This might be somebody that you were once married to, you have children with, or are still debating whether or not to be involved with them. I do sense there's a lot of conflict, a lot of disagreement, a lot of miscommunication, and not seeing eye to eye. And overall, you were dealing with somebody who's very I feel like someone who had a lot of anxiety, who is like has a personality disorder. I'm seeing like obsessive compulsive disorder. So I feel like you were dealing with that, and you're just like, well, I can, fix it, or I can make them better, or if I'm patient with them, things will get better. But I don't feel it getting better, and I feel like this is the month in which you are accepting the fact that if I stay with them, I'm going to suffer, the children will suffer, so I'm going to have to do, something else. I'm going to have to like leave this situation once and for all so that I can like, it's sort of like preserving, the rest of the family unit by letting go of this one person. Okay, so I do sense a big sacrifice being made. It's challenging, but it is a decision that needs to be done. Okay. With the Two of Wands, this is a partnership card. And when you look at this card, I usually think about, long distance ventures. So even travel, somebody soliciting you from far away, like a long distance relationship, or a business proposal that comes from far away, and even communication for some of you coming through from far away and could possibly be linked up with family units. So a lot of you might be traveling this month, might have new opportunities this month, okay? So I do see that energy coming through strongly. Now, in terms of your advice, you have some really, really, really good cards here. First of all, there is going to be a new job, especially for those of you who are looking. If you have, I feel job interviews coming through. I feel like you're dealing with people that that need somebody with a lot of skills, a lot of expertise. So I feel that if you are in an interview, they're very thorough. They do like thorough checks on your resume, thorough background investigation as well with this hermit energy. So that means they're gonna like, dig up all the past work environment that you have been involved in, and they're gonna ask very pointed, directed questions regarding that. So if for some reason, like if you can think very fast on your toes, or if you're like trying to get a job, don't lie on job interviews ever, especially not for this month because it's Mercury in retrograde. So I feel like a lot of you are just don't exaggerate, don't lie, because I feel like it's going to be found out. You're dealing with an interviewer that is very interrogative. Like they're really sharp. They have like a very sharp sense of like, being able to sniff out the truth, okay? So be careful. Just don't lie on job interviews overall. And then for others of you, I feel like you might be, getting a new job. And I feel like the new job looks very good. So you're shifting away from, disappointment, and you're going to move away into a new environment. And I do sense for a lot of you, the job might take you outside of the city. There might be a little bit of a commute, but it's going to be very good for you overall. It's not just a new financial endeavor, it's also going to change the quality of your life in some way. So I feel like it's a huge financial boost for a lot of you. And then for others, I feel like you might have been in a work environment for a really, really long time. You felt like, oh, I could grow with this company. I could, retire here. And then all of a sudden, like restructuring happens. And as a result of it, I feel like you're moving away from this in order to rebuild your financial foundation. A lot of you are also shifting from, a stable marriage situation that was stable financially. It wasn't like emotionally stable though. So I do feel that you might have dealt with somebody with, personality issues, personality disorders. There might have been a lot of squabbles, even, they're saying like verbal or even physical abuse. And so I feel that you're moving away from that into like something else, even though you don't know what's in store for you in the future. I do feel that it's still going to be a good opportunity for you to start over, okay? And then I do sense like for those of you who are recently married or recently met somebody that can be like a new relationship partner for you, or you just met somebody right now. It has a lot of potential to build, to grow, and to be nurtured. So it needs a lot of nurturing in order for the relationship to, bloom in the way that you'd hope. Okay. So overall, I feel like you're leaving things behind, and I feel like you're moving forward, and the transition is happening in a very smooth manner. So I feel like you are divinely protected to make this transition. I do see some very strong insights coming through. I do see like, karma. This is about karma, good karma as well. But I do see like a major kind of like some type of ancestral spirit coming through to guide you through this voyage, because I feel like you're very afraid and you're not sure if you're able to rebuild on your own. You're not sure if you're able to start over. But I do see like new work coming through and a new way of doing things that's coming through, so that you're definitely not alone in this, okay? So we have some very strong like cards coming through that indicates to me some type of guidance, like divine guidance. With the Hermit, the Six of Pentacles, Six of Cups, as well as this Ten of Pentacles, the Six of Swords as well. So the sixes usually indicates to me like some type of karma, and it comes through like good karma, bad karma from the family side. Like it could be from past lives, or even like some type of ancestral karma that can either help you or like hinder your progress. So overall, I feel like you're shifting to a good energy, okay? So Taurus, take care of yourself. I'm done with this part of the reading. I'm going to go into your love and relationship romance reading. So give me a second. I'm going to get the cards shuffled out. Just in store for Taurus, for love, romance. So you have the Hermit coming back out again. So even in your love sector, I do still feel like there's spiritual guidance, a lot of protection coming through for you guys. I'm going to give it another round. So you get 3 cards each, mainly because it helps me. Oh, this is actually supposed to be here. It helps me narrow down the energies. Okay, so let me talk about what you're thinking about first. Okay, so I have the crowning energy. The crowning energy indicates here the 5 of Swords, the Fool, and the Death card. The 5 of Swords is a situation where I feel like it was very conflict driven. You and another person that you were in a relationship with has not been seeing eye to eye, and a lot of you are thinking about branching off and just dating other people. So I feel like there's something here that indicates to me a parting of the ways, 2 people mutually agreeing not to see each other anymore and moving on, okay, with the Death card. I feel there was a lot of conflict, and I do feel as well, it's sort of like, it seems to me like somebody accused somebody of like seeing other people when they're the one in fact that has the wandering eyes. So I feel like it's a double standard coming through from you or your partner. I feel like from a lot of you from your partner, and you're not able to like be in it anymore. And I feel like you are starting to realize that they have trust issues that they need to deal with on their own, or they have like a lot of fears about intimacy that you feel like you can't really help them overcome. So I feel like it's a difficult situation. You stuck with it, but then you might realize that, you know, they like they need to arrive or learn these lessons on their own. So I feel that if you sense that if you invest any more time in it, you're going to end up very empty-handed, and the other person might be the one with the wandering eyes, and they're going to be the ones walking away from you, like out of the relationship. So I feel like a lot of you are cutting your losses and you're moving on. Now, in the past, I feel somebody is coming through with communication for you, and they're telling you like, hey, I actually, you know, this is like messages. This is somebody who is very, very, rushes in very, very quickly. And I feel like you were in a relationship with this person, so they indicate to me an ex, and they feel like they are somebody that you might have shared a living space with. You might have lived with them. You might have been married to them. You might have lived under the same house, or you know, you might have been dating for quite a significant amount of years. I feel like they're coming through and they're giving you like some type of, hey, I really want to be with you. Let's you know, let's give it another try, or let's take the relationship to the next level. And with the 5 of Cups here, the 5 of Cups usually indicates to me like regrets, things coming in a belated manner when you have already moved on, okay? So this is sorrow, regrets, and people coming through to offer an apology. So I feel like you have an apology. You have like some type of a truce coming through from somebody from your past. And I feel like it might be a little bit too belated, or they are offering you an apology, and then you both are trying to make things work and trying to come back together as a unit. And it brings us to the present moment. And the present moment is where there's a lot of strife. You're still trying to defend yourself. You and the other person, there is a great deal of attraction. However, I feel like you're kind of like 1 foot out the door. You're waiting for them to mess up just so you're just like, I want to cut my losses. So I feel like a lot of you might be coming back together with a new person, or an old person, excuse me. You're trying to give it another round of like, you're trying to give it another go. And I feel like if you are dealing with an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, I feel like you might have been married to this person. You have moved on. If you're dealing with like another sign, such as a fire sign, a Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo, I feel that you're wanting to give it another go. And when you're in the relationship right now, there's still a lot of conflict. You're contemplating just walking away because you feel like you don't, they don't really, there isn't a lot of compatibility keeping the relationship together and harmonizing the relationship. And so I feel like, you might have agreed to give it another go, but now the conflicts are coming up again, it's flaring up, and you're not ready to, put yourself through that pain, that anguish anymore. So the foundation is something that we know to be true. We do have the Hermit, we have the Emperor, as well as the Justice card. The Justice card basically indicates some type of legal separation, discussions about separation, and then later on a divorce, or you might have been going through a separation, waiting for the divorce to finalize. I feel like you were dealing with somebody who is very, very, very difficult. And they're like very controlling. They might have like personality disorders, like I mentioned earlier. A lot of you might be involved with a fire sign, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo, and you're going through this legal separation right now, and you're waiting for it to finalize. You're waiting for things to finally, ease up so that you can get the green light to move on. A lot of you might be doing this covertly, like you're sending in the paperwork from them, like to them long distance, mainly because I feel like there's fear about confronting somebody. And I feel like even when you were in the relationship with them, there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of like, not knowing how they're going to react, being a little bit afraid of speaking your voice, or like, speaking your truth in this relationship. And I feel like you might have been dealing with somebody that is significantly older as a relationship partner, where I just feel like you might have been financially dependent on them, you feared them, or there's an element of fear of holding a lot back and feeling very isolated even though you were in the partnership with them, okay? So all of these things indicate to me that right now you're 1 foot out the door and you're ready to walk. And I do sense for many of you, you've left a marriage behind. If you're newly single, this is a really good month for you. For others in struggling relationships, I feel like this is the month in which, by the 3rd week, you might have had it, and I feel that you might be ready to walk. And I do sense like if you are ready to walk, there's another person in store for you, okay? The Star card, what's coming through, especially for those of you who are single, this is electronic communication. This is also long distance communication. So you are either going out on the prowl, like dating people, internet dating as well. This indicates to me text messages, a lot of communication being exchanged between you and another person. And I also feel like for those who are single, you're in a very good position to meet the right person. And a lot of you might be meeting a water sign, a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. And this is somebody who's very, very loving and that can give you the emotional stability that you've been craving or you've been looking for. So I do feel there is a sense of like fated meeting with this person, okay? So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And I feel that this is a brand new person coming into the picture. It can be a very, very good person for you for those who are single. For others of you, you might be shifting from a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, and you might be moving from a fire sign into a water sign. So I feel like you were afraid of somebody, like you're afraid about confronting somebody, but I feel like you've met somebody else who really restores your faith in humanity. There's also like new voyages. So for those of you thinking about, relocating for work and things like that, you're leaving one relationship behind, and I feel like you're going to be meeting somebody new. For those in stable relationships right now, I do see an element of control between one or both partners. There's an element here of a little bit of jealousy, especially like not wanting to be your partner to be scooped up on the work front. They might have, you or your partner might be very well received. There's a lot of flirtation on the work front, and there's insecurities regarding, professional image, professional like functions, and feeling a little bit like kind of isolated from your partner because of work circumstances, okay? But it's going to be stable for those in stable relationship. The only thing I'm seeing here is big transitions for those of you who are contemplating who are already separated and are contemplating divorce, I feel like it's going to happen this month. And I feel like some finality when it comes to, getting the divorce papers signed so that you can move on, that's coming through as well. Because of all these major arcana cards indicating that you're on the right path if you are moving away to new things, okay? So I do wish you the best, Taurus. Is in the description box below. I've also included the my donation link as well. If you choose to use that, I would really appreciate it. I will be back for the mid-month reading, and once again, I apologize for the delay with this video, alright? Take care of yourself, and I will talk to you in the mid-month reading. Bye-bye.